I am a huge fan of magic, illusions, mentalism, and all that good stuff. But there's one thing I really don't like. And that is when magicians rip off other magicians. When they steal tricks from other people, whether it's by watching their videos or being in the same magic club, it just doesn't sit right with me. We were having dinner and watching this professional magician perform. But second, this guy is probably not the only person who has seen this trick in this book. Because today I have the solution. A mirror that answers only with drawings. Yep, with this mirror, your questions will be answered with perfectly drawn pictures. Watch as I ask it yes or no questions. And it uses its tiny little crayon to write out the answer. Look how fast it can draw. Let's ask it another question. Yes or no? Do you enjoy eating spaghetti? Does this mirror like pizza? Of course it does. Does this mirror watch YouTube? Sure does. In fact, it loves watching YouTube. Well, the truth is that the only program it has is the laws of physics. Every time I ask it a question, I'm changing the conditions of those tiny atoms on the surface of the mirror. Those atoms then vibrate and emit light waves at different frequencies, which eventually reach my eyes and brain, which interprets them as pictures. In other words, this mirror doesn't just reflect what I show it. It responds to what I show it. Its favorite channel is Magic Mirrors. Yeah, I'll make sure to tell Ryan that. Well, that's possible too. All I need to do is add something to the solution that blocks the conductivity of the mirror. That way, whenever I ask a question, I get answers. How cool is that? So maybe you're thinking that this mirror is like a really advanced piece of technology, but it's not. Everything about it is explainable through science. If you understand basic physics and chemistry, you could probably make one yourself. Once I apply this solution, the mirror looks cloudy, but when I ask it a question, it draws a smiley face. It doesn't just reflect your appearance, but responds to your questions with handwritten notes. Plus, it's handmade and absolutely one of a kind. But most importantly, it isn't a rip-off. It's 100% original. Or is it HMM? Did I invent this mirror all by myself or did I see it somewhere else? I don't know. But what I do know is that it doesn't matter if you're an amateur chemist or a seasoned pro, you'll have a blast conducting these experiments. And since everything is explained through science, there's no magic involved. See, this is how powerful chemistry can be. Just by changing one ingredient in this solution, I can change the way the mirror responds. But seriously, it does love watching Magic Mirrors. And its favorite video is the one where I show the secret behind another drawing mirror. This is that mirror. I drew the face on it and it responds to questions by spinning around. There's no way this thing could know what I'm gonna ask next. Oh yeah. Can you draw a fish? Wow. It draws whatever I ask it to. Even if I ask it to draw a detailed picture, it obliges. I love how precise these answers are. Over the years, I've come across plenty of magicians doing tricks they saw somewhere else. Well, except for that last trick. That was a trick I saw on TikTok. No, I'm just kidding. This mirror is 100% original. The reason why it draws instead of writing is because it isn't exactly the type of mirror that you do want to see yourself in. Well, first I need to remove the lid and scrape off some of this white powder. This white powder is called mercuric oxide, and it has formed when the mercury evaporates and reacts with the air. This reaction also creates heat, which is why the mirror gets warm after answering a few questions. Anyway, once I scrape some of this powder off, I can reconnect the wires and charge it up again. Instead of glass, it's made from a smooth sheet of metal, and it doesn't reflect light. Instead, it's covered with a thin layer of mercury. Now I know mercury is toxic, but this amount is safe because it's trapped between two pieces of tin foil. And as you can see, it's inside this decorative box with a handle. I've even seen popular YouTubers use material from a channel without giving credit and without asking permission. See these wires connected to a battery? They're connected to a graphite pencil. When I ask the mirror a question, I complete a circuit, allowing electricity to flow and creating a small arc. This arc heats up the mercury, causing it to evaporate and form mercury vapor. This vapor then travels along the surface of the mirror and causes the pencil to leave marks. The path the vapor takes is very predictable, allowing the mirror to write out whatever I want. And what makes it worse is that once you see one person do something, it makes it so hard not to see it everywhere else. For example, every time I go to a magic show now, I can't help but look for rip-offs. Whenever I see a coin vanish, I wonder if it's the same one I saw that Japanese guy do 20 years ago. And anytime someone pulls a card from behind someone's ear, I think of that magician I saw on TV in the 80s. Then he did this card trick which he claimed was self-working. Basically, he took a deck of cards, fanned them out, and let someone cut the deck. Then he had them name a card. He turned over the top card and it was the one they named. Now this trick is literally the same as the one I learned from Ernest's book. I wanted to confront him about it, but I was worried that he might think I was trying to be a card shark or something. So I didn't say anything. But after he left, I went up to his table and sure enough, I saw a copy of Modern Coin and Card Magic by S. W. Erdnase sitting right there. For example, back in the late 90s I used to do this trick where I would take a card from the deck, place it on the table, cover it with my hand, and then I would turn the rest of the cards face down. The spectator would then name any card, and I would remove my hand to reveal that it was now face up. It was actually a really fun trick, and a lot of people ask me how I did it. I told them it was a trick from a book called Modern Coin and Card Magic by a guy named S.W. Erdnase. If you ever get a chance to pick up a copy, it's a great read. But needless to say, I don't see too many people performing this effect anymore, if any at all. Now, years later, I was hanging out with some friends at a magic show. In that moment, I realized two things. First, I wasn't going to ask him about the trick because I didn't want to make an enemy in magic. Now, if this sounds like a problem to you, don't worry. And here's the best part. Unlike other mirrors, it's completely original. The reason why it's able to draw so well is because this silver nitrate solution acts like an electrical conductor. This mirror can answer up to 10 questions before needing to be recharged, but how do I recharge it? Now that it's fully charged, we can continue our conversation. Yes or no, does this mirror have feelings? Yes. You might be wondering, is this mirror sentient or is it just programmed to respond in certain ways? But what if I want to change the way it responds? Like what if I want it to draw a smiley face when it says yes? And speaking of changing how it responds, sometimes I like to connect to pencils to the positive and negative terminals, but why would you want to do that? This thing is completely unique.